Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to propose a solution to Australia's real estate mega hyper bubble that I haven't heard anyone else talk about. Of course, there's a lot of talk in the news right now about capital gains tax overhaul, and of course, the Green Party talking about how, the government's giving 176 billion in tax handouts to wealthy property investors. That apparently we had new data today from the Australian Bureau of Statistics that investor loans for the quarter of October to December last year, $60 billion in new loans to investors. That's up 23%. Biggest increase, more of an increase to owner occupiers, more of an increase than loans to first home buyers and non first home buyers. Massive increase in investor loans, which now make up roughly 40% of new bank lending to the real estate mega hyper bubble. And of course, if you go through a list of what the Green Party wants to do, freeze rents or limit rent increases, phase out negative gearing, government's doing a terrible job of building homes, but let's get the government to build more homes because they've managed to build fewer homes and make the price go up 3 times faster than inflation. Well, how about this? What about APRA, the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority? It's their job to regulate banks. Does APRA if investors are the problem, why doesn't the government, they could do this tomorrow, why doesn't the government say or have APRA tell the banks, because APRA tells the banks what they can and can't do, to freeze investor loans. No new investor loans. If you want to borrow money to speculate at the real estate hyper bubble, no more loans, right? And the short answer is yes, the government can, but this would be the nuclear option. Oh no, we can't stop real estate investors from borrowing more money to buy real estate. And of course, I'm not in favor of government regulation, but I'm operating within the framework that, everyone wants the government to do something. So why doesn't the government just do that? Why don't they impose? And here's a list of some of the things that APRA has done to the banks. In 2014, they put an investor cap on, making sure that credit growth, so new loans, could not grow by more than 10% per annum to real estate investors. They're growing at 23%. Of course, the reason is because they scrapped that in 2018. The interest-only cap. They put a floor at one point in 2019 saying that they had to assess you for a loan, assuming your mortgage rate was 7%. So if the bank was going to loan you money to buy real estate, they had to assess it as if your interest rate was 7%. Buffer increases assessing you at a 3% buffer. So the point being is that APRA can do this. So while we're having all these conversations about capital gains tax overhaul and negative gearing and building more houses, which the government's doing a terrible job of, when they could simply have, if in fact real estate investors are the problem, why doesn't APRA, the government banking regulator, just say, you know what, banks, for the next year, no new loans to real estate investors?